Okay, so this is Edgar. Edgar's helped me with my Title 24 and is going to be doing my HERS rating. And you come all the way from SoCal today,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So yeah, thanks a lot for coming out, and
Of
thank you
course.
for all your help on the project. You've been incredibly helpful, answering all my questions and the numerous things that come up during the course of a project like this. I guess, first of all, maybe introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your company.
Yeah. So I'm Edgar Valdez. I do Title 24 reports, HERS rating. I also do electrical engineering consulting. So things like load calculations, single line diagrams, power and lighting layouts, and then just any general electrical engineering questions I can answer. And I'm a professional engineer I'm a certified professional engineer by the state of California. So
And you went to UC Santa Cruz,
I went
right?
to UC Santa Cruz and then USC.
Awesome. So first of all, what is Title 24? Because that kind of confused me when I was thinking about building this and getting the permits and everything.
Yeah. So basically, Title 24 is a set of laws that California uses to define how energy efficient a building should be. So yeah, it's good for the environment that everybody tries to be efficient. It's good for the grid that everybody tries to stay within a certain budget and energy. And yeah, overall, it's good for the customers so that way they have enough insulation so that their AC is not on 24/7. So yeah, it's basically a set of laws that California uses to make sure energy goals are met.
Cool. So it's something you have to go through when you're getting a permit for
Yeah,
an ADU in
yeah,
California.
that's right.
And what sort of things does it have implications for in an ADU? You mentioned like windows.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the some of the toughest things to meet are the window specifications. Just because I think most of the time clients end up choosing windows that they see as pretty looking or beautiful
Hmm.
looking instead of energy efficient. That's one thing. Other things are plumbing. A lot of the like the heat pump water heaters take a bigger footprint than like a gas water heater that's tankless or an electric tankless. But California is really pushing on not using gas appliances, so they're
Yeah.
giving incentives to customers who end up using electric only appliances, and those are sort of the trade offs that one as a Title 24 consultant has to work with the customers. If they want a gas water heater, well, now guess what? You have to install batteries. Or if you want a heat pump water heater that's not as efficient, well, now you have to go and do a specific HERS test to make up for that energy credit.
Hmm. Yeah. And we went with Anderson windows here
Mm-hmm.
that met the spec, but I think there were a few things in the build, like the architect had put different specifications in the plans, and we had to go back and just look and
Yeah,
check everything was still good, right?
right, yeah.
Um, and when I first engaged you, it was when I got architectural plans together,
Mm-hmm.
I think. Is that a good time to sort of begin working with you, or maybe even earlier?
I think that's a good time because as what I end up using for generating the energy model is architect plans.
Hmm.
I I basically need to know what the layout of the project looks like, how big it is, where the windows are, like what if they're south facing, if they're north facing, how many doors you have, things like that. That's what I need to know. So usually by the time you finish your architectural plans, all that stuff is figured out, but can still be tweaked here and there.
Hmm.
But you're not gonna, maybe change the orientation of your plan of your ADU once your architectural plans are already done.
Right.
That's a lot harder to do. So I think that's a good time. But what I would say is working with an architect that knows um, like what windows are energy efficient or um, what what that specific city requires. There's some cities that only allow all electric buildings now. So
Like
working
here in
with
Oakland.
Yeah. So working with them and working with somebody that knows that sort of information is crucial because you don't want to, say, oh, I want to go and build all this gas appliance project, and then you submit it to the city and you get information about not being allowed to
Yeah,
have those gas appliances.
yeah,
It's a bummer.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, like there have been projects you've been involved with where someone's come to you later on and there've been some bad decisions or like some things that they could have saved money
Yeah,
on, right?
there's been like miscommunication where the clients think, or the clients want to install a gas tankless water heater, but their Title 24 has a heat pump, or their uh, yeah, there's been other projects where their Title 24 is specifying that they're going to use solar panels when the client has no idea that they're going to use solar panels. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's saddening to
Yeah,
to have to explain to
I
them
bet.
that what they wanted isn't what they're going to end up being allowed to get. Other times, I've also mentioned that uh, the Title 24 reports show that the projects need solar panels, but their project qualifies for not needing solar panels. There's
Mm-hmm.
specific exceptions that let you stay away from needing solar panels, but you just need to choose a Title 24 consultant or an architect that knows that information pretty well.
Yeah, because that's a huge additional cost, right, for solar
Yeah,
panels. And we're not doing them on this one because it's a garage conversion. So we were able to get out of that.
yeah, that's
Not
right.
that we think solar panels are a bad thing. Actually, we'd kind of like solar panels in
Yeah,
the future, but it's an additional 20 to 30,000, which is a lot
right.
when you're already spending over, 200,000 to build the ADU.
Yeah, and that's always my take when I'm helping out a client. I try to not over constrict the client, and I don't put the most efficient water heater. I don't put the most efficient windows because I want to give them that flexibility. Same thing with solar panels. I don't push them to get solar panels. If they don't want solar panels, that's not my decision. It's not my
Yeah,
money. So
yeah,
you tell me what you want, and I'll help you.
yeah. That's good. One question on water heaters.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people are confused or don't know. Like, can you get an electric tankless water heater that complies with Title 24? And what are the pros and cons of those versus like a heat pump
Yeah.
water heater?
So the electric tankless water heaters can be used, but only for uh, projects or ADUs that are 500 square feet or less. And the only, I guess, complication with that is that your water heater has to be installed as a point of use water heater. So all your sinks or faucets, your shower, they all have to be really close
Mm-hmm.
to each other. And another thing is it'll require a lot of energy or like a lot of current.
Yep.
So your electrical panel has to be more than 100 amps.
Mm-hmm.
And so there'll be other like complications using that.
Yeah.
But the pro is obviously it's a lot smaller, probably easier to fit in your project, especially if you're tight in space. The con, as we discussed, is just a little more complication.
Yeah.
On the flip side, the heat pump, they're very efficient. They're upcoming technology, so I personally have a heat pump, and I've seen. I haven't had a problem with using a heat pump. I've never had water come out cold, or my electrical bill isn't super
Mm-hmm.
high. And I like it. The con obviously is just bigger footprint. It takes the same footprint as a traditional gas water heater, which isn't bad, but if you can fit it, I wouldn't say that's a big problem.
Yeah. Cool. Um, and the other thing that you're helping me with is the HERS rating. So
Yeah.
what is that? And
Mhm.
when does that happen?
Yeah, there's one test that should happen prior to the drywall installation, and that's the quality installation or QII. And that's basically me coming and verifying that the insulation was installed um, per the manufacturer specification. So, like making sure the wiring is or that the insulation is open, the wiring is put in there in the middle and then closed up,
Mm-hmm.
it's a nice. There's no gaps.
Yep.
Things like that. So that's the QII test, and that should be done prior to installing the drywall. The rest of the tests, which are typically the indoor air quality, kitchen range hood, if you have a heat pump, verifying that the heat pump meets specifications and that the refrigerant charge is as specified by the manufacturer. Things like that. That's usually done at the end of the project prior to final inspection when your project has power, when you can turn things on. That's when it's done.
Got it. What we had a lot of back and forth, and I really appreciate that you were super responsive on email, like for the questions that I had. What things typically come up during the course of a project, ones that you've worked on from the beginning to the end, that maybe you need to provide input on, or like revise the plans, or
can you give me like an example?
Just thinking like maybe if the framing is different, like in this building we had some differences between the architectural plans and the structural plans.
Mm-hmm.
Like the framing was a little bit different. Also the windows that were specified in the architectural plans weren't the same as what we actually got.
Yeah.
So do those sort of things often come up, and how can you deal with them?
Yeah, I usually get customers reaching out to me saying they ended up getting windows that are slightly bigger, slightly smaller, or slightly less efficient or more efficient. But I usually have the way that I work, I save all my work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can easily go back, pull up the model, make the updates to my model, and see if it still complies. If it doesn't comply, then we have like a little bit more of a complicated situation, because then I have to trade something else off or work with the client a little bit more. But if it's a matter of just changing a number for the window efficiency and running it and it complies, then if it complies, I then just give them a new report. They then provide it to the city saying this is my updated CF1R or the Title 24 report, and it's all good.
Okay. So there is a bit of flexibility. Like ideally everything goes to the plan, but there is some flexibility because there's always stuff that comes up during.
And that's sort of what I mentioned earlier. Like if I specify that your water heater should be X number efficiency, but you end up choosing one that's slightly more or different, then that's fine. It's usually when you go the other direction, when you choose something inefficient, where things get a little more complicated.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much for going through all these questions. I'm sure it's going to be really helpful for the people out there. How do people get in touch with you if they want to use your services?
I'm part of the How to ADU group, so you can reach out to me there, or I'll provide my email and phone number, so that way they can reach out to me there.
Cool.
I'm working on a website, so
awesome.
we'll get to that soon.
Good stuff.